There we go. Alright, everyone all set?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. Alright. Here we go. Undertale Yellow, Dreams of Peace by Friendly AC. Yours truly. Chapter 3, Hike Through Nature. Clover stirred in his bed as he slowly opened his eyes. He noticed there wasn't any light shining through his window.
Oh boy, how early did I wake up?
Clover grabbed his phone from his nightstand and turned it on. He had to look away a bit from the sun and brightness before he glanced at the time, which read 4:42.
Well, that's just great. What am I gonna do now?
Clover thought to himself. He then looked over to where his desk was as an idea came to his mind. Clover slowly got up from his bed and walked over to his desk to grab the missing poster he took the night before. Then he sat down on the chair in front of his computer and turned on his monitor. After taking a few seconds to adjust his eyes to the brightness, he began doing some more research on the contents of this missing poster and the 5 missing children. The poster already listed their names, but he needed more info. Eventually, he found a website that gave more information on those children. There he found the names of the children that went missing, their appearances, and the dates they were last seen. Marine Smith, age 9. Last known appearance, blonde hair, light blue eyes, bright blue dress, and red hair ribbon. Last seen, September 19th, 1968. Jack Thompson, age 13. Last known appearance, brown hair, orange eyes, white tank top, and orange headband. Last seen, February 7th, 1994. Hope Lopez, age 12. Last known appearance, black hair, purple eyes, black jacket, and circular glasses. Last seen June 8th, 2012. Sunny Stone, age 10. Last known appearance, ginger hair, green eyes, worn out apron, and carried a pan. Last seen August 16th, 2024. That's today. RIP. Melody Gray, age 11. Last known appearance, short black hair, blue eyes, wore a pink tutu and pink ballet shoes. Last seen April 29th, 2032. And according to this website, they were all seen heading toward Mount Ebott, the same mountain those other monsters were rumored to have been trapped under. There would likely be a hole or some sort of cave leading to that underground place. He just had to find that entrance and then he could begin searching for those 5 kids. However, Clover realized that going there alone wouldn't be very smart. If the rumors about the monsters being sealed down there were true, there was a good chance they wouldn't be too fond of humans. He had to bring someone with him, another monster preferably. He first thought about Rena, but could he convince her? She is the best candidate to go with him, after all. It was worth a shot, he supposed. With his mind made up, he turned off his computer and headed back into bed. Clover couldn't really go back to sleep, though, so he just played on his phone until morning. A couple... Hang on. A couple hours later, Clover stirred in his bed, trying to go back to sleep. He checked the time on his phone, which read 7:21, so he just decided to bite the bullet and get up. He left his room and headed to the kitchen to fix himself up some breakfast. After grabbing a few frozen pancakes from the fridge and heating it up, he grabbed some syrup and sat down to eat. A couple minutes later, his mom walked in and noticed Clover sitting at the table.
Clover, why are you so up early? Isn't like this, let me see, a weekend? What, are you having a
I
date or
Mom.
something?
I know, Mom. I just woke up early and couldn't go back to sleep.
Clover responded as he chewed his food. Clover's mom sighed as she walked into the kitchen to make herself some breakfast.
Alright then, do you have any other plans today?
Well, I'm probably gonna go on a date with Rena today. I'll text her about it later.
Clover said as he finished eating. Clover's mom nodded as she saw him get up to throw away his trash.
You said, okay. Jeez, these children nowadays. Have some fun, Clover.
Clover walked back to his room and grabbed his phone. Then he sent out a text to Rena.
Morning, Rena. I know it's a bit early, so you might not be awake yet, but How'd you like to go on a date with me later this morning? There's some things I want to talk about with you.
A few seconds after Clover sent the text, his eyes widened a bit to see Rena was typing a response already. Half a minute later, she sent her message.
Oh, hey, you're awake too, Clover. Yeah, I'd love to go on a date with you, since I don't really have any other plans today. What time were you thinking?
Clover began typing his response before sending it.
I'm thinking we can meet up in front of the cafe we were at last night at around 9 a.m. How's that sound?
That sounds good, Clover. I'd like to talk with you about something that's been on my mind as well.
Well, can't wait to meet with you. See you soon, Rena.
See you, Clover.
Clover turned off his phone before putting it down. It was almost 8, so he had about an hour to get ready. Plenty of time.
Guess I'll just chill until then.
Clover sat down at his computer and relaxed for a while. Eventually, he looked at the time, which read 8:40. Looks like it was time to get ready now. Clover stood up from his chair and put on his usual attire before grabbing his phone. If he was going to do this with Rena today, he'd have to pack important supplies. He took a couple of water bottles from his mini fridge as well as a few snacks. Clover then opened one of his drawers and pulled out a toy revolver in case he needed to defend himself. Sure, it was a toy, but it's better than nothing. It's pretty powerful for a toy gun anyway. After Clover dropped it into his bag, he grabbed his notebook and pencil, putting it in there as well. After zipping up the bag, the last thing Clover grabbed was the missing poster before putting on his boots and signature cowboy hat. Finally ready to go, Clover walked out of his bedroom and began heading out of the house. On the way out, he saw his two parents eating at the kitchen table.
Where are you off to, kiddo?
His dad asked him.
I'm going on a morning date with Rena.
Clover responded as he walked toward the front door. His dad slightly nodded as he continued eating.
Of course. Be back soon. Oh, and don't jump down any mountains, okay, kiddo?
Sure thing, Dad. Definitely won't, don't worry.
Clover said as he opened the front door. He felt bad for lying to his parents, but he had to do this for those 5 kids. Their lives are important, and if they're dead, then it's important that their souls, or their bodies, are found. Clover closed the door. Clover closed the front door behind him and began walking to the cafe. Looking at his phone, he saw the time was 8:50, so he had around 10 minutes. That should be enough time. As Clover walked there, he looked at Mount Eba in the distance, which looked a lot clearer now that it was daytime. The mountain was pretty tall, so it would be kind of a long climb. Thankfully, Rena said she wouldn't be busy today, so hopefully he'll be able to convince her of his plan. Eventually, Clover made it to the cafe where he saw Rena waiting for him.
Howdy, Rena.
Rena smiled as she noticed Clover.
Oh, hey, Clover. So, you ready to start our date?
Well, first, let's head inside the cafe and order a quick bite to eat. We can talk together there.
Clover responded as he opened the cafe door. Rena walked inside with him.
Yeah, that sounds like a plan. I haven't had any breakfast yet, so I could probably go for something.
Clover walked toward the cashier as Rena followed him.
Well, I don't have much to eat either, so we'll order some pancakes for us to share. How's that sound?
Oh yeah, that sounds lovely. I could really go for some pancakes right now.
Rena said as she grinned excitedly. Clover stood in front of the cashier as he pulled out his wallet.
Good morning. We'll have 2 large pancakes and 2 cups of milk, please.
Alright, we'll have it ready soon. That'll be 9 G's. Clover reached into his wallet and handed the cashier the money.
Here you go, G.
Thanks, G. After the cashier put the money in the register, Clover and Rena waited off to the side until their order was ready. When it was, Clover went up to the desk and grabbed the bag of food before the two of them walked towards an empty table and sat down. Clover and Rena took the food and drinks out of the bag before they began eating. Rena closed her eyes and smiled as she chewed up her food.
I always love their pancakes here. They taste even better when I'm hungry.
Clover chuckled as he took a sip of water.
Yeah, they sure don't mess around with the pancakes here.
So, what were you wanting to talk about, Clover?
Rena asked curiously. Clover reached into his pocket and pulled out a folded piece of paper. Then he unfolded the missing poster and showed it to her.
It's about these missing kids, Rena.
Rena frowned a bit as she looked at the poster.
Oh, those kids. What about them?
Clover put down the poster as he had a nervous expression.
Well, I know this might sound a bit crazy, Rena, but we should go to Mount Ebot and try searching for those kids ourselves.
Rena's eyes widened as she looked at Clover in confusion.
Mm, brain. Brain? There we go. Well, Clover, that sounds kind of dangerous. You remember what we read in that book yesterday about that rumored civilization of monsters? We don't know what could truly be down there if the kids actually ended up down there.
Well, that's why I wanted you to come with me, Rena. Since you're a monster yourself, they'll likely treat you as one of their own, and likely do the same for me once they see that we're together.
Clover responded as he took another bite of his pancakes. Rena thought deeply about it for a moment. A small portion of justice in her soul made her want to try and find those 5 kids as well, but the rational part of her mind told her that it could be dangerous. Then she made up her mind.
Okay, Clover, I'll tell you what. We can climb Mount We can climb Mount Ebert and search for those kids underground, but we're not staying there too long, alright? And if we need to jump down a hole we can't climb out of, we should grab a rope or something to help us.
Clover thought about Rena's response before speaking up.
Okay, that sounds fair. Besides, I also brought a notebook and pencil so we can document whatever we find. Might help us with our little project.
Rena nodded with a hint of worry as she finished her pancakes.
Alright, but let's do this as soon as possible, okay? I don't want my parents to be too worried about me.
Clover stood up as he finished his pancakes.
Well, looks like we're both done anyway. So let's throw away our trash and get out of here.
Clover and Rena threw away their trash before leaving the cafe. Clover pointed to the right as they walked out.
There should be a department store over there that sells some rope.
The two of them walked towards the department store and entered inside to look for some rope. Finding it didn't take long as they grabbed a long rope and paid for it before leaving. Rena looked toward Mount Ebott.
So, I guess we're ready to go, huh, Clover?
Clover nodded as he smiled confidently.
We sure are. Time to fall from the light.
Clover and Rena continued walking until they reached the outskirts of the town. Clover pulled out his phone and opened a map.
If I'm correct, there should be a nature trail nearby that'll lead us to the base of Mount Ebot. Then we can climb our way up from there.
Oh, sounds good to me. I guess it'll be nice to take a walk around here anyways. I hear the nature trails near the mountain look really beautiful. Like you.
Rena said as she looked at the trees ahead of her.
Golly, that's nice of you. Anyway, maybe on the way there, we can snag that pet turtle you always wanted.
Clover jokingly said. Rena chuckled in response.
That would be nice, yeah. But let's not get distracted. We've got a mission to do, and I wouldn't want a turtle coming on this adventure.
Right. The trail's right over there. So let's go, Rena.
Clover said as Rena followed him towards the trail. The two of them began walking along the nature trail towards the base of Mount Ebot, taking in the nature around them along the way. As they were moving forward, Rena spotted an orange fox running through the trees near them. Rena smiled as she pointed at it.
Oh, hey, look, Clover, a fox.
Oh yeah, foxes sure are adorable, huh?
Clover said as he looked at Rena with a smug grin. Rena blushed a little as she averted her eyes while smiling.
Yeah. You think we could find an Arctic fox in here?
Clover playfully rolled his eyes.
In this environment, I think the only Arctic fox I'll be finding here is you, but that's good enough for me.
Yeah, I know. I was only kidding anyway. So, how far along are we now?
Rena asked Clover. Clover looked at the map on his phone.
According to my map, we're about half a mile away from the base of the mountain, so we should be there pretty soon.
Rena had a mischievous smirk on her face.
Around in kilometers, that is?
Clover sweated nervously.
What's a kilometer?
Rena laughed as she nudged Clover's shoulder.
Jeez, it's so funny how American you are, Clover. It's funny how dumb you are.
Well, I was born there after all. Never even heard of that darn metric system, whatever they call it.
Clover responded with a smug grin.
Of course you haven't. You're so proud to be ignorant. Well, we should be almost there now. So let's keep going.
Rena said as the two of them approached the base of Mount Ebott. Eventually, Clover and Rena finally reached the base of the mountain. Clover put away his phone.
Well, looks like this is where the trail ends.
Rena's eyes landed on the nearby sign warning of danger beyond their current point.
Oh wow. It looks like it could be dangerous. Are you sure about this, Clover? I mean, you don't even know what a kilometer is.
Clover nodded with a determined expression.
I mean, yeah, it's definitely dangerous, but I'm sure they just put that there to prevent more kids from climbing up the mountain. Ain't gonna stop us, though.
Rena sighed with a slightly worried face.
Well, it's clearly failing its job. Let's start hiking then.
Clover and Rena began making the long hike out up Mount Ebott. There was no trail from here, so they had nowhere to go but up. The two of them hiked up the mountain, trying to avoid as many steep areas as they could. Rena looked up at the mountain as she and Clover walked upwards.
Can't believe we're really doing this.
Rena then shook her head.
Snap out of it, Rena. This is for those kids. They have to be saved.
Clover began breathing heavily as they eventually made it halfway up the mountain.
Phew. This mountain sure is tall. Hopefully you'll find some kind of hole or cave near the top.
I just hope the hole isn't too deep for this rope. How long is it, by the way?
Rena asked as she looked at the rope Clover was holding. Clover thought for a moment before responding.
It's 100 feet if I remember correctly. That should be enough, I'm guessing.
Rena looked at Clover as she thought of something to change the topic.
Well, Sarah, you're gonna need to learn what a kilometer is. I see. By the way, Clover, I've been meaning to ask you, how's Daisy doing?
Clover was slightly taken aback by her question, but thought before responding.
Oh, well, she's doing sorta alright. Not the best, but she's getting through it. That new medicine that was invented with the help of those monster scientists is definitely helping her with her condition. If it wasn't for them, I doubt she'd still be with us at this moment. Still, it's been taking a toll on her.
Rena frowned with a look of worry.
Oh, is she doing okay? What? What? When did you last hear from her?
I called her last week. She's doing kinda okay, but the medicine she's taking is only doing so much. Her boyfriend's taking care of her, though, so I can't thank him enough for that.
Clover said as he caught his breath. Rena smiled slightly as she thought about Daisy.
Well, that's good to know at least. I'm glad she's still with us, even if I haven't seen her as often. Yeah, I could tell she's an amazing person. Yes, it did sword.
Yeah, she
Very
sure is an
British.
amazing sister. Maybe in a few days we can pay her for a visit. And yeah, that was very British.
Very British.
Clover said as he adjusted his hat.
Yeah, I'd really like that.
Rena responded. Clover looked over at Rena as they continued hiking.
Speaking of siblings, how's your brother doing? Or your sister now, rather? Oh,
Rena smiled as she thought back about her sister.
Oh, yeah. Well, Rico's mating. Fuck's sake. Um, Rico,
what have you done?
Rico's,
Maddie's tweaking.
Rico's making pretty. Shush.
Sorry.
Rico's making pretty good progress in her transition. It took her a while to realize it, but me and my family are all supporting her.
Well, that's good to hear. She has my support as well.
Clover said as he climbed up the steep rock. Rena pulled herself up as they got closer to the top of the mountain.
Thanks, Clover. Of course, I wouldn't really know what she's going through since I don't really feel like a girl most days.
Shut up.
I'll be there to support
Read
her.
it. Read what's on the page. Read what's
I'll
on
be
the
there to
page.
support her, and she can have all my estrogen.
Read what's on the page. Read it. Read it.
I'll be there to support her. She can have all my estrogen, and I'll be there for her.
Okay, I'll read it then. Thanks, Clover. Of course,
No,
I wouldn't know what
you're
she's
not
going through
reading.
since I'm not trans like she is.
Where are
But
we,
I'll
man?
still try
Come
my
on.
best to be
Where
there
are
for
we?
her. Right there, done.
Why are you being flowy, Serena, you idiot? That's a completely different voice.
Alright, I tried, okay? Alright, let me continue. Clover put his arm around Rena's shoulder as the two of them finally made it past the steep section of the mountain.
Well, she's very lucky to have you as her little sister.
Rena blushed slightly as she smiled gratefully.
Thanks, Clover. Your siblings are really lucky to have you as their little brother as well. Oh, by the way, she's planning to transition physically pretty soon. I bet she'll be a lot happier once that happens.
I'm sure she will. Anyways, looks like we're finally almost at the top. Let's look out for any hole or cave of some kind.
Clover said as he began looking around. Rena began looking around as well, when she soon spotted a large cave a little further up the mountain. She pointed up towards it.
Ah, look over there, Clover. That looks like some kind of cave.
Clover looked up to where Rena was pointing when he noticed it.
Oh yeah, there is. If there's a hole leading underground, it's gotta be in there.
Clover and Rena walked a little further up the mountain until they finally made it in front of the cave. The sunlight illuminated most of the cave, allowing the two of them to see a large gaping hole near the end of the cave. Clover smiled nervously as he looked at the hole.
It's gotta be a red there. Let's go, Rena.
The two of them cautiously entered the cave and began approaching the giant hole. As they made it to the edge, Rena grabbed a nearby rock.
Let me try something real quick.
Rena dropped the rock into the hole and then listened for any noise of the rock hitting the bottom. A couple of seconds later, she could faintly hear the sound of the rock hitting the ground below. Rena steps back with a slightly worried expression.
It did take a few seconds. I guess that hole's pretty deep. Are you sure that rope is long enough?
Clover began loosening the rope.
No, I mean, only one way to find out. Just gotta find the large rock to tie this to.
Clover looked around and spotted a large rock that was stuck to the ground.
That should do.
Clover went over to the rock and tied the rope to it. He pulled on it hard to make sure it was tight before walking back with the rest of the rope in hand. Then Clover threw the rest of the rope down the hole. Clover noticed Rena's nervous expression.
It's alright, Rena. I'll go first.
Clover carefully approached the edge and tightly grabbed onto the rope as he sat down on the ledge. Gripping the rope as tight as he could, he pulled himself down before quickly wrapping his legs around the rope.
Hey, what was that? Are you okay,
Music.
Clover? Are you okay, Clover?
Rena asked, concerned.
Yeah, I'm good. I'll start climbing down and give you some room.
Clover answered as he began slowly climbing down the rope. He managed to climb a few feet down the rope, making some space for Rena.
Alright, that should be enough space for you. Come here, Rena. You got this.
Rena looked down nervously, but swallowed her fear as she sat down and tightly grabbed the rope. Then she quickly pulled herself down and wrapped her legs around the rope.
Yeah, okay. I think I got it, Clover.
Clover smiled as he continued climbing down.
See? I knew you could do it. Let's start climbing down now.
Rena nervously smiled as she began climbing down.
Alright, let's go. I'll start climbing down. We're saying the words climbing down quite a lot.
Where are we?
Alright, let's do this.
Uh,
Alright, let's do
Yes,
this.
that peddling. Correct.
am I
Well
stuck?
done, Went.
Where
Correct,
are we?
matey.
Alright, let's do this. Hold
You're
on
on.
tight. That's where we are.
Yeah.
Okay. Why can't I see that line? What?
It's the line right after, alright then, I'll start climbing down now.
Of the many climbing downs, yes.
Yeah.
I feel like you've said climbing down more than Stanley Parable narrator says Stanley at this point.
I don't know. Rena, I remember your climbing downs.
I remember when I was trans. Oh wait, that was all the time.
Did you find it yet?
I literally can't find it. What is wrong with me? What
I
the
mean,
hell?
It almost stopped.
it's near the end. Hang on.
I feel like typing it won't actually help.
There. I posted it. Just find that line.
Children, stop
Hold on.
arguing.
Okay, let me find that now.
I mean, you can try reloading in case it's.
A good argument.
You can try reloading in case it's not there. I don't know.
Children, you're not getting anywhere with this. You're just
There
firing
it
back
is.
and
Okay.
forth.
Finally. Alright, let's do this. Hold on tight.
Clover said as he began climbing down the rope below her. Rena tightly gripped the rope as she made her way down.
I'm not very good with heights, so let's get this over quickly, please.
The two of them continued climbing down the rope as they descended deeper into the hole. Eventually, Clover couldn't feel any more rope with his legs and looked down to see if he finally reached the end of the rope. Then he saw the ground at the bottom, which appeared to be about 10 feet below him. Rena stopped just above Clover.
Everything alright, Clover? Did we make it?
Kinda. We made it to the bottom of the road, but it looks like a 10-foot drop to the ground. Luckily, it looks like there's flowers down there to cushion the fall. Not sure how those are even down there, but let's aim for them. I'll go first, of course.
Clover said as he prepared to drop. Rena nodded as she looked down at Clover.
Alright, be careful, Clover. You're not allowed to die, it's illegal.
Clover took a deep breath as he swung towards the flowers and let go of the rope. A second later, he landed on the flowers unscathed. After getting up and brushing himself off, he stood on his feet and looked up at Rena.
Alright, Rena, your turn.
Rena looked down but took a deep breath as she prepared to jump.
Oh god, are you sure this is just 10 feet, Clover?
Clover walked forward as he held up his arms.
The fall isn't that bad, I'm sure of it, but if you want, I can catch you.
Alright. Catch me then.
Rena said as she let go of the rope
Wait,
and
what?
dropped toward Clover. Clover tried to heroically catch her, but she instead landed on top of Clover as they both fell down onto the pile of flowers. Clover felt himself fall back on the pile of flowers as Rena landed on top of him, causing his face to go red a little. Rena blushed as well as she noticed the position they were in and quickly got up.
Oh, sorry, Clover.
Clover got up again and adjusted his hat.
No sweat it, it was my dumb idea to try and catch you anyways. I'm such a dumbass, man.
You're right, you are a dumbass.
Rena looked around the bottom of the hole.
Well, looks like we're finally here. You really think there are other monsters down here?
Clover pondered this question as he looked at the hallway ahead of them.
Only one way to find out, I suppose. Come on, Rena.
Right, let's find the truth together, Clover. I'm
Rena,
so corny.
Rena responded as the two of them began approaching the large doorway. Ugh, that was a long one.
We're done. Okay, I'm
Oh,
sorry
yeah.
about not being able to find the line. I needed to refresh. I couldn't see it.
It's okay.
Yeah. Well, I updated the chapter like shortly before we started reading, so that's probably why.
Thanks a lot, jerk. Appreciate it.
My bad.
Yeah, screw you, apparently.
Yeah, I just removed that
You had
one
me stuck.
image.
I genuinely thought I was a moron.
Well, I mean, you are because everyone is, so.
I mean, yeah, fair enough.
So who's next now?
Well, it was Hendrix, but he doesn't want to, so I guess we're over.
Okay, well, I mean, you guys want to read that sneak peek of chapter 4 in the meantime?
Sarah? Yes? What is it, Sarah? Yeah, no, we're done.
Hold on. I'll allow this to finish up. You have the floor.
I am not a flower. Okay, that's it.
Yes, you are. Deal with it.
Alright, so I'm.
We could go for the chapter 4
I need to
sneak
lock up.
peek.
I will. Okay, well, hold on. What is it, Sarah?
I am not Maddie. You're wrong. Yeah, but
Yes,
you're
you
you're you're you're
are.
wrong. No, I'm not.
Very well.
Thanks.
Alright, scooch off, all of you. I have some affairs to handle before I
Alright.
so and so. Let's see what happens tomorrow.
Okay, that was quick.